Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Ibrahim Traoré's era. Today a headline is shaking the Sahel and turning heads across the continent. $15 million. 1,000 cars. Straight from Captain Ibrahim Traoré to the officials of Burkina Faso. This is no rumor. It is reality unfolding before our eyes. The soldier who drove France out of his homeland has now signed an agreement that is not about weapons, not about begging for aid, but about cars. Traoré has sealed a groundbreaking deal with a Chinese automaker. The arrangement? Stunning in its simplicity yet bold in its impact. China is delivering 1,000 electric and solar-powered vehicles to Burkina Faso. These cars are headed for ministers, judges, health directors, educators, and senior state workers. But it doesn't stop there. The company is also planting its roots deep in Burkinabè soil by building a massive assembly plant and car factory, a hub where solar vehicles will be produced using Africa's greatest natural gift, the blazing sun. The Chinese vision is daring. They boldly claim, "We will design solar cars for Africa. We will challenge Toyota. By 2030 we will dominate Africa's auto market. And Burkina Faso will be our African headquarters." Traoré welcomed the idea with open arms. He granted land, incentives and full support, telling them, "Build here. Burkina Faso is your home." And in return, Burkina Faso secures the role of sole distributor of these vehicles across Africa. Think about that. A small landlocked country, mocked for its poverty, insulted for its hunger, now holds the keys to the car market of an entire continent. This is not a small story. This is history being written. For decades, Africa has been chained to Toyota, Peugeot, Renault, and Kia. We were forced to import second-hand rusted cars, vehicles that had already spent 10 or 15 years in Europe before being dumped here. We queued endlessly for fuel. We begged for oil. Every rise in petrol prices crippled our economies. But solar belongs to Africa. The sun is ours. Every morning it rises freely, endlessly over our lands. So Traoré asked the question, why must we forever drive foreign cars? Why must we rely on fuel we don't control? Why can't Africa move with power from its own sun? That question sparked this deal. Make no mistake, Paris is not celebrating. Washington is not smiling. Because if Africa begins to manufacture and drive solar cars, Western giants stand to lose billions. If Burkina Faso controls distribution, who will keep selling us Europe's worn-out scraps? This is not just a car deal. This is a declaration of defiance. And in that defiance, the West smells rebellion. 1,000 cars might sound small, but when they appear on the streets of Ouagadougou, they are a loud message. Teachers behind the wheel of solar cars, doctors parking electric vehicles in front of hospitals, judges, ministers, and state officials moving silently, powered not by imported petrol, but by the African sun. It shouts, "We are moving forward. We are not begging. We are building." This is not a mere showroom. This is a full-scale factory. Machines are on the way. Land has been given. Papers signed. Burkina Faso is not rich in oil. It has no coastline for oil tankers. But it possesses something stronger: endless sunlight. The Chinese engineers saw this. They said, "Here in the Sahel, we will build cars that drink light instead of fuel. Here we will craft solar vehicles for an entire continent." And Traoré answered, "Yes, use the sun of Burkina Faso. Turn it into motion. Let Africa ride on its own light. This plant will not only serve Burkina Faso, it will serve Africa. From Nigeria to South Africa, Kenya to Ghana, cars from Ouagadougou will be shipped and sold. And the control, entirely Burkinabè. Yes, the same country once mocked as one of the poorest in the world, will now be the sole distributor of solar cars in Africa. This is power. This is history. Markets, bus stops, and tea shops in Ouagadougou are buzzing. Citizens whisper with pride. They say the cars will be built here. They say our youth will find jobs. They say Burkina Faso will export cars to the continent. For years, young Burkinabè risked death crossing deserts and seas to find work in Europe. Now they say, maybe the jobs will come to us. Maybe we will not run anymore. Maybe Burkina Faso will rise. Meanwhile, France shouts, "This is dangerous. This is Chinese colonialism." The irony burns. The same France that plundered Africa for centuries now dares to lecture us about colonialism. But the Burkinabè see something different. They see dignity. They see proof that their leader is not waiting for aid, but building a future. And that frightens the West even more than the factory itself. Because when Africans start believing in their own power, Europe loses its grip. On the ground, teachers rejoice. We will drive the same cars as ministers. Doctors smile. Finally, Africa is building, not only buying. Youth declare, "We will build these cars. We will stay. We will not run to Europe." The deal has lit a fire in Burkinabè hearts. And that fire, the belief that Africa can stand, is more dangerous to colonial powers than any factory. Of course, storms are coming. The West will try sanctions, propaganda and threats, the old tools of control. But Traoré has crossed the line. There is no going back. The first solar cars are already on the streets of Ouagadougou, silent, sleek and shining like hope itself. Teachers drive them to classrooms, doctors to hospitals, judges to courts, ordinary officials in vehicles that are not European leftovers, but symbols of a new era. The message is clear: Africa can build, Africa can lead, Africa can shine. Thomas Sankara once warned, "He who feeds you controls you." Today Traoré is teaching, he who builds for you controls you, unless you build for yourself. This factory may stumble, it may struggle, it may even fall, but it has already broken one chain: the belief that Africa cannot dream big. And that is already a victory. Because sovereignty is not only about soldiers and speeches, it is about food, it is about factories, it is about refusing to remain the world's dumping ground. Burkina Faso, small but proud, has thrown a stone at the giants of the auto industry. It has told the West, we can, we must, we will. Whether this project succeeds or fails, one truth is alive: the African sun is stronger than the Western shadow. This is Ibrahim Traoré's era. Brick by brick, car by car, light by light, the future is being built, and this time, it carries Africa's name.